Welcome to Graceful Art Designs as I take you through another nothing but oil painting. This is the sketch of the painting. It's a variegated rose, and as you can see I've outlined the petals in red. That's where I want the red to be, and the inner part will be a kind of a off-white, creamy white. They're not totally snow white, these variegated roses, but it remains to be seen whether I will be able to maintain that distinction as the lines get blurred sometimes. And the vase is not going to be like this. I really don't like it. It's going to be a small round vase down here. The canvas is small. It's a square canvas, and I wanted this rose to be the biggest rose on this side, and I often seem to put them on that side, so it needs to be a shorter, rounder vase. So I will take you from this to the first step is blocking in the background, which I'm starting with white, and then I will put some color around the roses and drag that color out into the white, and then the inner roses I will block in a mixture of white and Naples yellow, but very little bit of Naples yellow, so that I can see the difference and not get lost. And I like to do the background light, especially when I'm doing a vase of roses, because the sketch is just, a guide. It's not finite, and I may add other leaves, like those leaves I don't like there at all, the vase I don't like at all. Sometimes when you're sitting and sketching, things don't fall into place the way you want them to, but when you stand and look back, you see how you could do it differently. So I really like the rose. The rose is exactly how I want it. I found a photo of a rose that is the rose I've been looking for, and so I sketched it from that photo. And needless to say, a photo and a painting are not going to be identical. I can't show you the photo, but if you Google variegated roses, I'm sure you'll find something. Some of them are so pretty, but they're so the petals are so sort of scumbled together that you can't distinguish them clearly. So this one was really lovely because it was very clear, and there weren't many layers to the petals, and I think that's what made it so appealing to me, because other than the center part, there was only like 2 other layers, and that made it easier for me at any rate, to see clearly and to know where I'm going. I've covered the background with white. I've sketched in the vase that I want, which is a small red vase, and I've put little bits of red around the roses. There's a rose, and there's a rose, and buds I can add afterwards. And then I've put in yellow and bits of orange around the rest. And so now I'm going to drag those bits of color into the background, into the white, to make a nice soft pastel background. I need more white, and so that the background will be soft and not overpower the painting. So I can't get too close here because I don't want to mess up the red. I'll work on that off camera because I need a steady hand, which I don't have when I have the camera in one hand. I hope I remember where the leaves go there. There are such pretty leaves there. And I think this will be an opaque red vase, so you won't see the stems inside it. But I'll see. I first want to do the roses because I don't want, the whole painting to just be red. So depending on how much red there seems to be in the roses, which from the sketch is not very much, but then the vase can be completely red. But if it's too much red, then the vase will have to be just a glass vase with a red outline, I guess. I'll see. So for those who want to know how I do this background in more detail, I'm just showing you. I'm just pulling away the little bits of red where I put them around the roses, making sure I don't destroy that outline of the rose, because I did that very carefully. And although of course I know there are going to be a lot of changes with the paint once I use the paintbrush on the rose, but still I just want the guidance of where it is exactly, so that I don't end up making roses that are much larger than I intended, or disproportionate. So this flat brush is nice for this kind of background. It's not too big. For a bigger canvas you would use a bigger brush, but this is a size 12 and it's just the right size for this, because it gives me the ability to do large areas like this, sort of just scumbling them along, but without, when I need to get close to the painting, I shouldn't mess it up. So that was step 1, blocking in the background, and now with my white, which has turned a kind of creamy yellow, I'm going to fill in the roses, and then I will leave that to dry, because I may highlight these patches with more white, depending on how it looks, but first I will put on the red with a filbert brush or with an angled brush. I haven't decided yet, because not all of the outline of the red, it's not just like a line, it's kind of variegated and deeper and longer in some places than others. And so I did indicate that with the pencil crown, but I don't know how long I'll be able to see it once this colour goes down. The background has turned out exactly as I wanted it, and the colour in the roses has also turned out just the way I wanted it, but it will definitely still need another layer. But you can see it's a nice creamy sort of ivory white, just off, slightly off white, a little hint of yellow in there. And the vase is nice and red. It's much deeper red off camera than it is on my camera, so it's not picking up the true colour. The red it's picking up seems to be more orangey, but anyway, that's what it is. That will get another layer as well. So today I'm starting with the petals of the rose, the outlines, and I'm going to try and remember exactly where, well, you can see where the red is, but it's more difficult in the center part of the rose to do them very fine. So I'm just picking up a little bit of this vermilion red on my brush. And also it's first, although this is, the canvas is blocked in and the rose is blocked in, the rose is not completely blocked in, so this is really the first layer on the rose. And I'm going to have to do it very, very carefully, just with the edge of this filbert brush. Otherwise, I don't want it to look like it's just been sketched in. The paint needs to be more precise than that. The inner part was the hardest, and especially because I'm having a really bad eye day today. I really can't see what I'm doing. But now I can show you the outer petals, which are a little easier because there's more red in them. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking this filbert brush. I have showed you on other, show the viewers on other videos how I do the roses, but especially on this variegated rose, it's important because you don't want it to look like it's just a stripe around the edge. It's not like that at all. There are little lines coming into the white part. So I put the brush down this way, press it down and move it forward, and sort of at the edge of the rose. And that just gives the look that you will see in the actual rose. And like I said, this is just the first layer. So once this is dry, I will come back with another layer of the creamy yellow color, and then another layer of the red, and that should make it look perfect. Well, the first rose was, I suppose, the easiest because it's the biggest, but the inner part was difficult, and I really had to hold the canvas with my hand and come in really close. So I'll show you. The second one, it doesn't look as bright. Maybe the paint on my brush was a bit thinner, because I had to make sure that I put very little in on it so that I wouldn't make thick lines. And now this one, which is like a partially open bud, and also, I'm not doing it very well. There's a little petal that was jutting up there, and one over there. And then, although this is creamy colored inside, the outer edge here looked slightly reddish, and coming down there as well. And then these are leaves. So I'll put a few buds further around, and then I'll add on the leaves. That's the first layer of the roses completed, and I have added some buds in here and there, and I've added a few leaves, which are just a mixture of the different colors I had on my palette, some yellow, orange, red, and a bit of sap green. And I just carried on using the filbert brush for that, but now I'm switching over to the angled brush and sap green, just to make some sap green rose leaves. And so there I have added a whole lot of leaves, and I'm going to just show you how I add the leaves onto the buds. So it depends what where you look and what you look at, and they can appear in different ways. But I'm just, for this painting, I'm just doing it like this with the side of this angled brush, which is so useful. And even though I've just painted the red, I can still paint on with the green, and it comes off green, even though it's cold air and the paint is not dry. So that's one, and then I do want it to be have a little more of a curl around there. So I might just add that like that. So each one is different, they're all unique. But what got me painting this particular rose was that, well, I'd wanted to paint a variegated rose for a long time, but I was looking up the Rose of Sharon, thinking that would be nice to paint, and then I discovered that the Rose of Sharon is more likely a gardenia than a rose. And gardenias may look very similar to roses, but they are not roses. And mostly I don't think I will distinguish them at a glance, but if I look at the photos long enough, I can see that whereas roses, they have this tight center and it opens up, but the gardenias have more of a swirling center that kind of opens up like that. And the leaves on a rose often come in sets of 3s and 5s, but on gardenias they're a darker green and a more waxy green, and they grow in singles. So those are some of the differences you might notice, but just at a glance they look so similar. It's incredible. So I think I have often, when I've gone for walks, mistaken gardenias for roses, because I think around here there are more gardenias than roses. Where I lived before, there were a lot of roses, but the municipality had actually planted roses all around on the pavements, but not in this area. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue adding leaves around the buds. Some of the buds could have, the front completely covered with green like that before they open up. Depends what stage they're at. So I'll do them all slightly differently from each other.